Greetings, friends. I'm AK.
And I'm Laura.
And we are
The Chainsaw Girls. On today's episode, dude, I am pumped for this one.
I don't know why I just did this. If you're watching on YouTube, this is more like yoga.
I think so, yeah. But we are covering 1996, The Craft.
I'm so pumped. I'm wearing my Hex the Patriarchy shirt. Cannot wait. We do want to give a very brief trigger warning for a small discussion of self-harm.
Self-harm, yeah.
So we're just going to throw that out there now, just so you know. At the time of this recording, this can be found on Tubi.
That's where I watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get into it, shall we?
Yes, I will read the IMDb.
Yes.
A young girl, new to a Catholic school, befriends a coven of witches whom the other students either shun or fear. But when a powerful invocation, got it right, goes wrong, the consequences could endanger their lives.
Yep, that's about it.
That's it. That's The Craft. All right, episode's over.
And so do you have the budget on this one?
I do. It had a $15 million budget, and I believe it grossed, let's see, $55.6 million worldwide.
Wow. Did you see this movie as a kid?
Oh, dude, let me tell you, this movie changed my life as a kid.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah, I want to say I was 9 when this came out, 9 or 10.
Okay.
Immediately wanted to be a witch.
Of course.
Immediately told my dad that I was going to be a witch. Lost his shit on me.
Oh,
I
really?
had a super Christian dad.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Super Christian. And when I told him, I was so excited. Me and my girlfriend were so excited. I was like, well, we're going to be witches. My dad came out of, I was saying it to him from another room. He like poked his head out and was like, what did you just say? And I was like, I want to be a witch. And he, oh my God, the lecture I got, he was so against it. He thought that shit was evil.
Yeah.
He was just really, because I think to him, witchcraft is like, it was like black magic.
It's
Satan.
Nancy. It's Nancy from this movie.
Right, exactly. Which is like, you know, obviously I think it's really silly. But as a kid, I really believed him.
Yeah.
You know, and there went my dream.
Wait, what?
I said, and there went my dream of being a witch.
Oh.
But I loved it. I loved it. I was obsessed with it. I wanted to be a witch. Yeah.
This movie, I did not get to see it as a kid. It was, you know, I wasn't allowed to watch rated R movies in the 90s. But when I watched this movie as a young adult, and even when I watch it now, what I think of is the episode of Pen 15 where they want to be witches.
Oh, yeah.
And they go off in the woods and they just start finding sticks and pretending that they're witches. Like, that is the vibe.
Yeah, and I feel like that's like every little kid sort of, not every little kid, but I feel like, yeah, it's like it makes sense that you would want to, I mean, that's what I did. We were like pretending.
Yeah, you're like mixing fake potions and stuff.
Yeah.
Side note, if you haven't seen Pen 15, it's so funny. It's on Hulu. You got to watch it.
It's really, really good. I mean, it's funny, but it's also can be really heavy at times.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it.
When I recommended it to you and you actually loved it, I felt so much pride. Like,
loved it.
hell yeah, I did it.
Oh, it was. It was so good. And then it left me empty inside.
Sorry about that.
This was directed by Andrew Fleming. It was also written by him and Peter Filardi. And we've got a pretty awesome cast.
I was going to say, we have to list the cast because we have a lot of heavy hitters here.
Like, for real, for real.
Yeah.
Do you want to run them down or do you got them in front of you?
Yeah, I got them.
Let's do it.
All right, so first we have Nancy, which is Fairuza Balk.
She's amazing in this.
You've seen her in The Water Boy. She's fantastic. We have Robin Tunney, who was coming fresh off of Empire Records.
Yeah, and she actually wears a wig throughout this movie because she had shaved her head.
For Empire Records, right? Yes.
Yep.
That is, she plays Sarah, our girl Sarah. Okay?
Also, she's so pretty.
She's gorgeous.
I mean, all of them are gorgeous.
Of course. Because next we have Neve Campbell, who was fresh off of Scream, I believe. I don't know which one was filmed first here.
So I was listening to an interview with Skeet Ulrich. It sounds like all of these movies were filmed pretty close together. But I want to say The Craft might have been filmed first. I think it was.
But they were both released in 96, Scream and The Craft. Neve Campbell plays Bonnie, and you just mentioned Skeet Ulrich is also in this movie, fresh off of Scream.
Hi, Skeet.
Playing Chris. I didn't even catch that. Hi, Skeet.
Hi, Skeet.
You gotta go like this. Hi, Skeet. I like rip my ponytail.
I swear to God, Skeet Ulrich as Billy Loomis licking his fingers, licking the blood off his fingers. I don't know. It just did something to me. I think that's why I like a bad boy.
It changed your brain chemistry.
No, it really did. It really did.
But he plays Chris in this movie. We don't like Chris,
No, Chris is a piece of shit.
just so you know.
Mhm.
We have Rachel True, who plays Rochelle.
I love her. She's another smoke show. They're all
She
just
really
so
is.
pretty. Yeah.
And we also have Christine Taylor in this movie.
Yes.
She plays Laura. We have Breckin Meyer, who you have seen in Clueless.
Oh, he's great.
Who plays Mitt. He was like, when I see him, I'm like, you are the epitome of the 90s.
Agreed.
Like his style in everything he's cast in, his hair, like the bowl cut. I'm like, you are peak 90s.
I feel like he might have even been in Can't Hardly Wait. Was he in Can't Hardly Wait?
I'm gonna look it up.
Dude, he's been in a lot of stuff, but very 90s for sure. Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I don't know if he was in Can't Hardly Wait, but now I want to look it up.
So it was filmed in 1995. It was filmed in May of 1995 and it wrapped in July of
Okay.
1995. Because we were just talking about like the release of all of these movies.
Yeah.
I believe Scream was probably filmed the same in 1995, I think. Or maybe it was filmed in 96 and it came out later that year.
Oh, okay.
I'm kind
Yeah,
of
that
curious
makes
about
sense.
it. Yeah.
I don't think he was in Can't Hardly Wait, but he was in Freddy's Dead.
Oh.
So there's that.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, so Breckin Meyer was in Can't Hardly Wait. He was a lead singer in it.
That's what I freaking thought. When you
Yes.
said no, I went, oh my God, I feel like my brain's going to explode. Because, you know, when you like know something and then when someone says no, you feel like it's like, what is it called? Not the butterfly effect.
Mandela effect.
The Mandela effect. I feel like I thought I was
Yeah.
having an out of body experience
That's
just now.
that's the hard part when you quickly search something, and I was like, you know what? Let me just do a deeper search real quick. He is in it.
I would have been Berenstein bearing this the whole episode for real. No, I love that. Yeah, he's great. I think he's the best.
Yeah.
But touching back on when these movies were filmed, because we were just saying 1996, Scream and The
Yes.
Craft. The Craft was shot in 1995. Scream wasn't shot until April-ish 1996.
Oh.
And it came out later that year. So I remember in the interview I listened to with Skeet, he was talking about how he had shot several movies all at once, but they were distributed, you know, differently
Yeah.
and throughout different years. So he hadn't worked with Nev yet.
Okay.
So this was the first time they were working together.
Interesting. That
Mhm.
has to be so difficult to get into so many different characters' mindsets.
Oh, I know for sure. Yeah, but I feel like when you love the art, you just figure it out, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, interesting that they were both in Scream and The Craft.
Yeah, and so close together.
Mm-hmm.
So should we go into the movie now?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, so we start with an overhead shot of our three of our main girls, I should say, Nancy, Rochelle, and Bonnie, and they're doing a spell at a table during a thunderstorm.
So 90s, baby.
Okay, so we already know that they're witches or wannabe witches at least.
Doo-doo. I love the whole vibe.
Oh, they're like, now is the time, this is the hour, ours is the magic, ours is the power. What if a thunderstorm just came in right now when I did that?
Oh, it'd be awesome. I'd be like, okay, let's go play the lottery.
I thought you were going to say, let's go play light as a feather, stiff as a board.
I mean, that would be fun too.
So then after that, we meet our protagonist, Sarah, and she's on a plane.
Yes, with her dad, they're flying to LAX.
Yeah, she's moving to LA.
Mm-hmm.
They get to their new house that isn't even furnished yet. Like the ceiling is literally leaking.
I know it's a really cool, like old sort of California home. Like it's beautiful, but it needs some work.
Yeah, I immediately just thought you need to hurry up and fix that because your floors are going to be ruined. Like there were wooden floors.
That's what you said.
That is all I could think of because he's like, oh, we got to get that ceiling fixed, honey, to whoever his wife is because we'll find out it's not Sarah's mom. Sarah's mom passed away in childbirth.
Yeah.
But I was like, sir, this is an emergency. You
Dude,
need to fix that
the way you
now.
said it to me last night was so funny. You were like, he should be fixing it right now.
Whenever I see videos of people they do like the cleaning videos on Instagram or
Love
whatever,
it.
I love those videos except the ones where it'll be someone in a house that has like drywall and they just dump a giant bucket of water on their floor.
What?
I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh, God.
Even aside from the water getting into the floor, I just picture all the water getting underneath the trim into the drywall, creating mold.
What a weird way to clean.
I'm like, you don't do that unless you're living in like a concrete home. No, I'm being serious. Like I've been in homes, like especially like southern homes, where they are like concrete walls, concrete floor. Yeah, sure, throw some water on there. But not with drywall, not with wooden floors.
You're just in the comment section like, okay, I love this cleaning video.
However, I don't need to. Trust me, everyone is letting them know that
For
is not
sure.
how you clean a floor.
Oh my God.
Anywho.
So Sarah pulls out a picture of her actual mom and she places it on her nightstand. And then all of a sudden, this man shows up holding a snake and he's like, hey, I found this snake outside. That's not how he said it. But he's like, I got this snake. And
he did say it real crazy.
yeah, he did. And honestly, like I thought for a second that it was going to be like the gardener or something.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I thought he seemed too unhinged right off the bat.
Yeah, he goes, found this out back. You want it?
Yeah. Relax. What's the matter with you, man? Like shit.
Why would she want that?
Dad chases him off and then the dad kills the snake.
Yeah, it's implied that he kills a snake with a fire poker.
I put a bunch of sad faces. I felt bad.
Those snakes, serpents are a huge theme in this movie and they will come back. in the
No,
end.
yeah. I wanted a snake so bad when I was a kid.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all I can think about when I think of snakes is how bad they smell. And maybe it was just the snakes that I used to catch outside of my aunt's property because she lived on a bunch of land and we would just catch like little garden snakes and they're harmless, but they would smell, my hands would smell so bad after.
Oh.
I don't know if it's because they're rolling around like in their own shit or something.
In the dirt and stuff.
Maybe, but like I don't think dirt by itself smells bad.
They're rolling, aren't they slithering?
Yeah,
They're
you know what I
rolling.
mean.
You look over,
Like
they're having
barrel
like
rolling.
they're having like a dust bath.
My brother used to have snakes. He had all the reptiles, yeah.
Whoa.
Like iguanas, all that stuff.
I mean, I wouldn't want one now, but yeah, I did back in the day.
Yeah. So we cut to Sarah being dropped off at her new Catholic school.
Yeah, and she doesn't have her uniform yet. And the dad's like, well, why don't you just stay home until you get it? And she's like, no, I need to get out of the house and I want to go to school. Said no high schooler ever.
No, absolutely not.
No.
This was shot at a real high school, a real Catholic school.
Oh, did you know I went to an all-girl Catholic school?
You've mentioned that before, and that's wild. I mean, it makes sense. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
You had to, grow up in a Christian home.
Christian Catholic home, yeah.
But
Never baptized, though.
that's interesting. That
Yeah.
part is interesting. I was baptized, but I never made my first communion. We never got that far.
Oh, interesting.
Like my mom, I was her first kid, so she's like going through all the motions she felt like she had to do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure my grandma was like encouraging it. But yeah, once we got to like, she started having more kids, it was like, go if you want.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
yeah, I get you.
But yeah, I can my friend growing up went to a Catholic school, so I would like go hang out with her sometimes.
Yeah.
On like Sundays at this I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems intense.
I loved my all-girl Catholic school.
Good.
I really did, yeah. Because I went to a co-ed high school for my first year.
Okay.
It didn't end well. And so I transferred it, and the Catholic all-girl school was the only school in the district that would take me.
Oh.
No comment. And
I have questions, but I'll ask you later.
I even had to write a letter to them, like basically saying that I'd be a good student.
Did you set someone on fire?
That does sound like me. No.
With your what was it, the Puppet Master episode? A lighter and a hairspray?
Hairspray and a lighter, yeah. But I had to wear the uniform, the kilt, the tie. I loved it. I actually just went for my like reunion not long ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very I had a great high school experience. I really loved it.
I'm glad.
Yeah, and we had a chapel and all that shit.
I hear a lot of horror
Mass.
stories come out of Catholic schools, so I'm glad that you had a good one.
Honestly, I think not going to school with the opposite sex was one of the best things I did.
Okay.
I loved it. I loved not having boys because, like, let's be fair. I mean, they suck a lot of the time. So, especially high school boys. And
high school boys, yeah.
There was like some freedom in being surrounded by women and intelligent women. And I don't know. I just had a really good high school experience.
Good.
Yeah.
So we see Nancy, Rochelle, and Bonnie. They're walking through the halls. They have their little, it's like the classic 90s. This is our trio. They're walking through the halls.
Oh, I love it.
And you
and
can
the music's so 90s.
Yes.
Oh, I loved it.
And you can tell Nancy is like not I don't even, how do I put it? Like she's the rebel right away. You can tell, she has her shirt is untucked from her uniform.
That's how I looked in high school. How she was dressed in this scene with her uniform is what I looked like when I was in high school.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like wearing makeup, has a nose ring.
Oh yeah. I had a lip ring, tongue ring.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She also has a
combat
noose.
boots. Always had combat boots.
Combat boots
Yeah.
with the skirt. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. So it was a vibe. It was a vibe.
She also has a noose in her locker.
Yeah, that I did not have. Yeah.
That she just casually is like playing with while they're talking at the lockers.
I feel like that's that thing of like, look how wacky and crazy I am.
Yeah, like I'm dark.
I've got a noose.
Yeah.
Girl.
That is totally something I could see one of us doing in high school, just to be like, look what I have a noose in my locker.
Yeah, totally.
So they start talking about earth, air, water, fire.
Mm-hmm.
And long story short is that they need a fourth girl to complete this
Exactly. Yep.
if they're going to do like all the spells they want to do. So basically, the four classical elements are those four: earth,
Mm-hmm.
air, fire, water. It's a fundamental practice or fundamental to the practice of magic, at least in the craft.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We cut to French class
Yes, we're in French class.
and we see for the first time Skeet Ulrich, who is Chris.
Oh God.
And he notices Sarah right away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's the new girl in school.
He's like a shark, man. He's on the prowl.
He literally is.
Yeah.
I also read something that said the French that they use in the scene, I guess, was not fully correct. Something that was written on the board. I don't speak French, but something that was written on the board was not grammatically correct.
Yeah. Oh my God, really?
That
Do you know
was-
that I had it exempt off my record because I failed it so many times?
Exempt, like they pretended you never took the class.
Yeah, so that I could actually like pass.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they took it right off because I failed so many times. I get my grandma to do my homework, but she did it in slang.
You cheated and you still failed.
Still failed, man. And now I want to learn it. Now I'm doing that. What is it called? Duolingo.
Duolingo?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? I have Babbel, and I heard Babbel's way better because it's like conversational.
Sorry, Babbel's the one that I was
Oh,
using.
okay,
I
cool.
canceled it though, and now I do the free version because they were sending me emails every day asking me to switch to the annual, even though I'm paying them monthly. And I said, "You're done.
You're done.
You're done. You've sent me too many.
And block.
That's too many mailers."
Well, I was gonna say I have a lifetime thing for it, so if you want to use it, you can.
I love that. I do. I want to learn more than femme laporte. You know what I mean?
I want to learn more than omelette du fromage.
Oh,
That's all I know,
I
and
want
it's-
some. I want some cheese.
Cheese omelet, and it's only from the cartoon Dexter's Laboratory that I know it because he listens to a French tape overnight.
Yeah.
And it gets stuck like on skips, and he
Yeah.
just keeps saying omelette du fromage over and over, so that's all he can say the next day.
Oh my God.
It's so funny.
Femme laporte means close the door. My grandma used to say it all the time.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Close the door. I want to watch my shows. I want to watch Young and the Restless.
I love that. Okay, so yeah, Chris is a total shark. He's like, that's the new girl. I'm gonna call dibs on her. Bonnie is also in this class, Nev Campbell, and she looks over at Sarah and notices that Sarah is balancing a pencil completely upright on its sharpened point.
Yes.
And not only is it balanced that way, but it's like spinning and grinding into the desk, and she's not touching it.
Yeah, she's just concentrating and staring at it. And Bonnie is looking over at her. And Bonnie, I kind of want to describe Bonnie a little bit.
Yeah.
You can tell she seems a little insecure. She makes herself kind of small.
Like hunched.
Hunched. She's wearing a lot of layers. I mean, she's in the uniform, but she's wearing like the school cardigan. And
Yeah.
like, you know, she's just very covered up.
And very timid.
Timid, almost like a mouse. She's hiding her face a little bit. But she is intrigued by Sarah. And then Sarah like drops the pencil and notices like Bonnie's been staring at
Yeah,
her.
Bonnie kind of gasps a little bit, and Sarah hears her, and then the pencil falls.
Mm-hmm.
And so Bonnie, of course, goes and tells the others this in their, I think, biology class they're in next. And Nancy is like, are you feeling okay? Because Bonnie's like, this is our fourth girl.
Yeah, Nancy was just being an asshole right off the top.
She immediately is like, I don't think so.
She's really defensive.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Sarah comes up to them in this class and she wants to sit there, and Nancy is not really having it. And I do feel like they're showing Nancy is a little jealous of Sarah right off the bat.
Immediately.
Which you all just said you needed a fourth girl, and now you could have a fourth girl and you don't want her. So I think she just felt threatened immediately.
She did, for sure. It's like, yeah, we want a fourth one, but you can't be as powerful or more powerful than me,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, and maybe she sensed that.
Mm-hmm.
So then at lunch, Chris goes to sit with Sarah because he wants to find out what she's all about, right? And I went to a smaller high school, and I remember how crazy we would get when there was a new person. Do you remember that happening?
No.
Like, especially in, well, my high school was co-ed. So,
Yeah.
like, if there was, a new guy or a new girl, like, everyone, whoever was attracted to them would go fucking nuts. Like, oh, who was that?
That's so interesting because I honestly felt like I missed out on that high school experience, like in terms of like a new person coming to school.
It was probably for the better.
I don't even remember that in my co-ed high school, but I went to, like, the high school was pretty big.
Mhm.
My Catholic school was really small, but my co-ed school was really big.
That could also be a factor because I've heard people tell stories when they went to a high school that was so big, like you would see new people every day and it wasn't a big thing.
Yeah,
'Cause
totally.
You always see people you don't know. But
Yeah.
in my high school, if you were at that high school, like I knew who everyone was. Even if I didn't talk to them, I knew who they were.
Same. I think I did too in my Catholic school for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So tells Sarah, yeah, you need to stay away from those three girls. He points over to the three of them, Nancy, Bonnie, Rochelle.
The things he says is just terrible.
He tells her that Nancy is a slut. And then he's like, I don't know from personal experience, though. Like,
Ugh,
okay, so why would you say that if you don't know?
so
And
gross.
also, just why would you say that?
It's such like a cheap fucking thing to say too.
It's
She's a slut.
that's
That's
such
such a
like a
high school.
filler. Like, if
Yeah.
you're gonna call her anything, you're a slut,
So she's sexually active?
right?
Like who gives a shit?
And he invites her to come watch his football practice, and she's like, "Wow, fun." But then she does end up going.
She does, yeah, she does. He also tells her that Bonnie has burns all over her body, like
Yeah,
scars.
yeah.
hmm
So he's just like telling her the tea, basically, but also making up rumors and being a little shit.
And trying to befriend her, like trying to be like, you don't want to hang out with those girls, but you do want to hang out with me.
Exactly.
hmm
And she is, she's playing it cool. Like, she was like, "Oh wow, your football practice," but she does like him a little bit.
She does. I think she's got a little crush on
Yeah.
him. I mean, why wouldn't she? Come on.
It's Skeet Ulrich. Come
It's Get
on.
Aldrich. She's a babe. Uh, even though he's terrible in this movie.
Yeah. And so she does go.
She does. And can we just talk about the song?
Yes.
Dude.
I didn't even recognize it at first. You were like, "This song." I didn't even
Dude.
recognize it at first because it's a cover, right?
Yeah, it does something to my body, man. I freaking love it. It's epic. Okay.
What is it called again, or do I need to look it up?
I don't know, but it says I am the sun, I am the air. You guys know the song. It's the opening to the move or the TV show Charmed.
Oh,
Which
is it?
apparently the I don't know if it was the writer. I think it was the writer of this movie. Was pretty pissed off that they made the show Charmed because he had pitched a pilot of The Craft and he feels like they ripped him off.
Oh,
I don't know. I read that somewhere. Don't
Yeah.
quote me though, but yeah.
Interesting. So
Mhm.
it's "How Soon Is Now." "How Soon Is Now" by, I just had it up and it went away. By The Smiths is
Love
the
it.
original. The cover in The Craft is done by the band Love Spit Love.
I love it.
Love it.
It's so good. It does something to me.
For real.
Mm-hmm.
And the other three show up to this practice as well. And so Rochelle is like, "Nancy is sorry for what happened in biology." Like,
First
okay,
of all, Nancy can speak for herself.
exactly. And Nancy's standing right there.
Yeah.
She can't apologize for herself. And then Nancy tells her that, "Oh, Chris fucks anything with tits," which
Mhm.
is also a gross thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bonnie says, "Except me." And I was like, "Girl, have some confidence."
Also, Nancy says that he spreads diseases.
Yeah. And then she said she does know from personal experience.
Yes.
So they're both telling two different stories here,
yeah, exactly.
but spreading rumors about each other.
Yes. Nancy also catcalls to Chris while he's running and he like fumbles and falls. It's pretty
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. And then they invite Sarah shopping with them, and they're like, "Don't worry, we get a 5-finger discount."
Yeah, exactly. We find out that Sarah used to live in San Francisco.
Yeah, Sarah does go with them. And I think, like, okay, she's hearing both of them talk shit about each other, but she's also like, "I need to make friends here."
She needs to make friends. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Bonnie notices that Sarah has scars on her wrists.
Right.
And she does tell them that they are self-inflicted. She used a kitchen knife. And Bonnie points out that she cut the right way.
Right. Where I was like, "Wow, this is pretty intense."
Absolutely. It sure is.
And
yeah.
then they just kind of brush past it. Like, "Okay, let's go to the store now."
Yeah, they do. And I think, we're learning more about Sarah and
Right.
just how difficult I think she feels very isolated,
Yeah, for sure.
you know? Mhm.
And then they go to what I think we called in our notes an occult shop. We decided
Yeah.
on, right?
Yeah, exactly. I used to love going to those stores, man. Oh, I remember I bought my first tarot card deck from a store like that.
I went to one in New Orleans and I really liked it.
Yeah, the vampire store was really cool in New Orleans
Yeah.
too.
Sometimes I'm really afraid to buy things though, because I don't know what
Um,
I'm bringing home with me.
That's fair. That's fair. I did buy a deck of tarot cards that I'll never use because it just gave me bad vibes.
Ooh, yeah.
Mhm. Do
That's
you
a
know I
good-
pulled out my OG tarot cards that I use now?
Yeah, I think you mentioned that before. Oh my gosh, I just realized you have planchette earrings on.
Yeah.
Oh, they're so
Are
cute.
they cute?
That's perfect.
I'll tag where I got them in the somewhere on our Instagram or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, I pulled out my old tarot cards and that's what I use now for
I
my
love that.
readings. Mm-hmm.
So they're in the occult shop. There's tarot cards. There's readings in the back, things like that. And one of the girls tells Sarah to put a book in her bag.
Right.
And it's their 5-finger discount. I feel like if you're gonna steal, don't steal from people that can put a hex on you.
And
you
also
know?
don't steal from small businesses.
Yeah, don't do that.
Like if you're
shit.
gonna steal from Target. No.
Just kidding. Not on the
Don't
record.
steal. Don't steal, guys. It's
don't-
so bad.
I was winking. No,
But
for real.
especially not small businesses.
Yeah.
Sarah tries to go into like the back room and the shop owner's like, "Oh no, you're not going back there.
Yeah.
But you need to buy these candles. Also, look at that ring. That was your mother's ring." So the shop owner obviously has some sort of power. She's either a witch or she's a, I don't know, fortune teller, whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she asked Sarah if she knows how to use the candles, and she's like, "Yeah, you light them." Like the the store owner was like, "Okay, take this and read it. Like, there's more to it than that."
Yeah,
Okay,
the book on witchcraft.
right.
And she even says, she points out to Sarah, like, oh, you're not like your friends. You're actually paying for shit.
So she knows what's up, and she's just like, "Okay, like you're gonna get whatever you give," which
Mm-hmm.
she'll get more into later.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they're walking down the streets after this, and they're kind of walking through an area where people are asking for money, and she sees the snake guy again.
Yep.
He still has a snake.
Oh my God, this is so crazy.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, I had a dream about you." Like now he's following Sarah. He's
Yeah.
like, "I had a dream about you. You were dead." And he's following her into the street.
And she's running from him.
She's running away. She kind of stops and turns and looks at him, and then he just gets smoked by a car.
Dude, the body, like obviously they must have used a dummy. The way that it goes under the car,
We both looked at each other like, "Oh my god."
we gasped. It was wild.
Yeah, you can see the dummy's like head get run over by the wheel,
Dude.
but it's kind of like a silhouette, so it just looks crazy.
It is. It's crazy.
Yeah. I was not expecting that. And so they end up in the woods somewhere, they're drinking. Nancy smokes cigarettes, so she's always smoking throughout this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah tells them how some things like this have happened before. So she feels like maybe she made this happen with her mind.
Yeah, and she kind of goes on to say like she can't really control her powers. So Nancy's talking about this deity Manon that they all worship. Essentially, it's not bad, it's not good. It's like a combination of like black magic, white magic, the gods, etc., etc. And it all to me sounds very sexual. Like it's about invoking the spirit.
Oh, yeah. She kept talking about how he fills you.
Yeah, she keeps it did sound very sexual.
For sure.
And he takes everything that's gone wrong in your life and makes it all better.
Yeah.
And Sarah is like, nothing can make life better.
Right.
Like it's not possible. And she's kind of irritated by this. And she's like, you guys are freaking me out. I'm out of here.
Yeah. I also want to say Manon is not a real deity.
Mhm.
He was actually made up based on different pagan deities for this movie. They had an on-set Wiccan advisor, which I thought was really cool. That was Pat Devin. And Pat advised the producers of The Craft to not use a real deity,
Mhm.
as the movie could lead teens to go to beaches and invoke a real deity, which can be dangerous. And I was
Yeah.
like, respect.
No, totally.
Whether
Yep.
you believe in it or not, I don't think it's a good idea to like do spells and try to summon things if you don't know what you're doing.
You don't know what you're doing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, Nancy is kind of like, yeah, right, to Sarah, because Sarah says like she went deaf for 3 days, right?
Oh, because you mean Sarah's explaining to them that she doesn't have full control over her
Yes.
powers. So it's like she wanted it to rain really bad, so a pipe burst in her room.
Right.
She wanted it to be really quiet, so she went deaf. But it's very obvious that Sarah is a natural witch.
Yeah.
And I think right off the bat, Nancy does not like this.
Yes. So Sarah is getting freaked out. She leaves.
She leaves, yeah.
And she goes to hang out with Chris.
Yes, they're on the roof.
They're drinking.
They're drinking. Chris says that Nancy has a large head. He says that he talks a lot about people's heads in the scene.
Like, these are huge red flags. This guy allegedly does not like her, but he won't stop talking about her.
Yeah, it's very, her choice to hang out with him, I think, just goes back to the fact that she's very lonely.
Mhm.
You know, Sarah to me seems depressed throughout this whole movie.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But he immediately starts trying to kiss her.
Oh yeah, like way too soon.
Like way too
like
soon.
mid-sentence.
Yeah, it's way too quick. He invites her over to his house because
Ugh.
nobody's home.
Yeah.
She's like, no, dude, I'm good. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, she's like, I can't. I gotta go home. And he's like, all right. Already, I'd be fucking done.
Dude, because he gets pouty.
You get pouty because I tell you no,
We're over.
and you're black.
Yeah, I'm never
And you're
talking to you
blacked.
again. Like, see,
No.
because it's so manipulative. It's that thing of like somebody gets like irritated or mad, and you're like, are you upset? And they're like, no.
No, for real. I remember someone telling me, I forget who it was, but that if you want to know someone's true colors, tell them no.
It's so true.
See how they act.
It's so true.
I get so mad about that. I'm like,
No, I know because we've all listen. I think we've all experienced it,
yeah,
and it is infuriating.
Yes. And then Sarah's like, "Are you mad?" And I wrote, "Ew, don't apologize for that
She
shit."
did. She apologized, but it's that feeling you feel. It's you almost because it's so manipulative.
Yeah.
It is. It's manipulative, and then for some reason you feel guilty for saying no.
Yeah. And he's only being nice to her because he wants to have sex with
Yeah,
her.
he wants to get in her pants.
I
So then he says no. He goes, "I'm not mad. It's cool."
really, because you're acting mad. Sure about that?
Yeah.
And so then the next day at school, the other girls come up and tell Sarah that Chris is telling everyone that they did it last night and that she was the lousiest lay he's ever had. And she's like, "Are you serious?" They're like, "No, for real." And at first, I didn't know if they were just saying that. I
Same.
thought maybe Nancy was just fucking with her.
I thought so too. Yeah.
And then Rochelle reminds Sarah, like, "Yeah, he said the same thing about Nancy
Yep.
before."
Mm-hmm. And
And
I do like this about Sarah. Sarah just straight up goes right to him.
I literally wrote, "Good for you, girl."
Yep.
She
Mm-hmm.
does go to confront Chris at the locker. "Why'd you lie about me?" And he goes, "Look, I don't want to go out with you again. Please stop begging. It's pathetic." The way I would have fucking roundhouse kicked this motherfucker.
I'm like, I immediately wanted to backhand him so hard.
He's so good at being such a little shit.
Dude, I would find every single insecurity that I knew this guy had immediately and just fucking blast him.
Exploit that shit, especially in high school.
Oh
We
my.
about to get messy.
Oh, dude. Just ruthless.
As an
man.
adult, I don't have the energy.
No,
And
I
I'll
don't either.
just-
I'm like, all right, you're a loser. Bye.
I'll just never speak to you again.
Exactly. It's snip, snip. See you later.
Goodbye.
So Sarah turns around and says, "Hey, Chris, fuck you." I think that about covers it.
Yeah, I wrote, "Girl, we do got to come up with better comebacks though." But yes, that suffices for now.
That's it.
And one of his friends is like, "I will." Like, no, you can go fuck yourself, actually.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Just go stick your head in the sand somewhere.
Yeah, next we see go stick your head in the sand. Next we see Rochelle on the diving board. I'm assuming this is like swim practice.
Yeah, for sure. Mhm.
And we are introduced to Christine Taylor, who plays Laura.
Oh, Laura's a real bitch.
This Laura we don't like.
Laura's horrible. I think Laura's actually worse than the bitch. She is awful.
Yeah, because
She's filled with hate. She's filled with hate.
She yells "shark" just to fuck with Rochelle's dive, and then she, messes up. And then in the locker room, Rochelle is like, "What the fuck is your problem?"
She confronts her, and you know what? Like Rochelle doesn't do it in an aggressive way.
Yeah.
She asks her. She's like, "Why are you doing this to me?
Why? Yeah.
Like,
what did I
why?
do?"
What did I do to you? Why are you being this mean?"
And Laura drops some racist ass shit that we will not repeat. But when I watched this back for the first time in a long time, I was like, what?
So jarring. It was
What?
so jarring. It's terrible. She calls her the N-word. It's awful. It's
What in the actual fuck?
It's just hatred, racism. I mean, if you want to make someone hate a character,
Right.
it's awful.
Yeah.
But true to life,
And
right?
also,
like,
knowing Christine Taylor in so many other roles now,
yeah,
seeing that, I'm like, whoa, like you don't expect it, especially to come from her.
right.
I think of her as Marsha Brady,
No,
especially
totally.
at that age.
Yeah, totally. And the fact that like they're addressing something that is real,
Yeah.
that people experience. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, oh God, it was just like really hard to watch.
Yeah, we're really cutting through and seeing all of the suffering that each girl is having and what problems that they're dealing with,
Yeah,
because that's going to come into play.
exactly. Yeah.
So then we see Bonnie is at the doctor, and we find out that she does indeed have burn scars all over her body.
Yeah, she's there for some kind of gene therapy where they're basically trying to remove the scars from her body. But it's a very, very painful, non-invasive procedure. Bonnie is laying down with her face like through a hole.
Yeah, and would you call it like skin needling?
Yeah, they're using a needle to like I don't really know exactly. I mean, she called it gene therapy.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're injecting something into her body, what they're doing exactly. But a needle comes down on a machine and start almost like a sewing machine and starts poking Bonnie's back. And Bonnie at first is like, "Ow, ow," and then she just lets out like a scream. It's awful.
It is like the medical scenes like this are so gross, and they show a close up practical effect of the needle going into the skin.
Oh, dude, it's awful. It stuck
Ugh.
with me. I remember when I saw it when I was a kid. It really stuck with me.
Yeah.
Her scream stuck with me.
Yeah.
You know?
At first, I thought she was getting like laser, but then they show that needle, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But
And this is also 1996, 1995. Yeah.
so this also has resulted in severe confidence issues. So that explains why Bonnie kind of makes herself smaller and she covers up because she feels insecure about these scars.
For sure. And people at in the high school are mean and they do call her out for having scars.
Yeah.
So sad.
Now we see Sarah, who is having a dream, and her trauma that we're seeing here is she's dreaming of the incident of self-harm.
Absolutely. Yes, definitely. There's a thunderstorm going on. She definitely, was trying to end her life. And it's clearly she has PTSD for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now we see Nancy, who is going home to her trailer.
Oof.
Her parents are like
They're loud and terrible and
maybe drunk,
drunk.
drugged out.
Yeah.
Their lights aren't working because her stepdad didn't pay the bill.
Yeah. It's an awful situation.
Yeah, the mom is yelling at the stepdad, and she obviously does not have a good home life.
No, she goes into her room, she lays down, and you could just see she's like kind of crying. She just looks like very sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the four girls decide to go on what they call a field trip.
Yes. I love this scene.
This is like the iconic scene, or one of them, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
They take a bus,
Mm-hmm.
and as they're getting off the bus, which is so funny because when they're sitting on the bus, they all look so like goth.
Yeah.
Side note, I feel like this movie is the goth Mean Girls.
Oh, that's like an interesting. Yeah, I can see
Especially
that.
with how the main three are gonna turn out.
Goth Mean Girls. I
The
love that.
goth Mean Girls.
Mm-hmm.
And they're sitting on the bus just like straight faced in their uniforms, but like, their makeup on, and they're like kids sitting next to them, just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
And so when they get off the bus driver is like, "You girls watch out for those weirdos." And then Nancy says, "We are the weirdos, mister."
So great.
Iconic.
Love it.
And so now they're in the woods and they're chanting earth, air, fire, water.
Mm-hmm.
And this scene goes on for a minute.
They have a blade. They're doing this like circle thing. Do you come into the circle with perfect love and perfect trust? They have to like recite, whatever the fuck.
I wrote, they're doing witchy rituals and shit.
Yeah, like that's perfect love and perfect trust is what stands out to me.
As above, so below.
As above, so below. They
They have a dagger.
they've got a dagger. They are all, cutting themselves and making a drink.
Yeah, they prick their fingers and put it into a goblet.
In a goblet. I even remember when I was a kid watching this, I was like, I could never. Like, that's disgusting. I'm not drinking your blood, man.
No. Even like, did anyone ever try to be like blood sisters
Yeah,
with
no,
you?
hell no, not happening.
Even as a kid, I'm like, I'm not doing that shit.
No way, no way.
No.
My mom was like, don't ever do that. And I was like, deal. So we kind of go through what each of the characters is hoping for, wishing for. Yeah. Rochelle wants to forgive Laura.
Yeah.
She wants like there to be some understanding between them.
So Rochelle wishes to be rid of racist pieces of bleach blonde shit like Laura Lizzie.
See you later, Laura.
Yeah.
Sarah wants Chris to basically love her.
Yeah, and even the other girls are like, this kind of pathetic.
Yeah.
But she wants to love herself more and others to love her, especially Chris.
Yep. Bonnie asks for beauty. And Nancy wants power.
She wants all the power of Manon.
Yep.
And she chugs that shit.
Oh, yeah. And then a bunch of butterflies appear and they're like, oh my God, it's him.
It's a sign. Which, yeah, I mean, it was a lot of butterflies. I will say that.
Okay, it's the craft, so it probably was a sign.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's true.
It's just funny.
But some people will find signs and everything. And then other people will find like obvious signs and be like, what? I didn't see a sign.
It's so true. I'm one of those people that definitely looks for signs for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
And I wish the signs would just tell us exactly what they mean. Like, can
That'd
we
be nice.
stop being fucking cryptic?
No, that would be really nice. 100%. Yes.
So the next day at school,
Smack me in the face with it, okay, please.
Yeah, can you write it out in a text? We have technology now. You don't need to put 444 on the microwave.
Write it on a mirror, okay? Scare the shit out of me, but it'll make me pay attention.
Yeah.
So we're in class now.
Yeah.
And we see that Chris is staring at Sarah.
Oh, he is obsessed now.
Like, he is staring a hole through her, and Bonnie notices it. They both do. They both notice that the spell is working. Mm-hmm. And he's sort of following Sarah around like a puppy dog.
Yeah, that's exactly how I put it. They get to mass because they have to go to mass in Catholic school. Did you have to go to mass?
There was mass, but it was optional.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember like the first time I experienced Ash Wednesday, I like didn't know what the hell was going on.
And they're just putting stuff on your forehead.
Yeah, I didn't get the forehead stuff.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
But yeah, they're in mass and she's like, you know what? Can you carry my books? They're kind of heavy because they know what's happening and now they're like fucking with him a little bit.
Yeah.
And she's like, actually carry Bonnie's too.
Yeah, carry all these books in bags.
And his friends see this and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
and she tells Chris to tell the friends that he's a liar.
Yeah, go tell them that you're a lying piece of shit or whatever she says.
Yeah, Nancy's not amused by any of this. And again, I think Nancy is just very jealous.
I agree.
And I don't think she's jealous that Chris is blah, blah, blah. She's jealous because Sarah clearly has the most power out of all of them. She casted a spell without really even trying.
Yeah, and Nancy's wish hasn't come true yet.
Yes.
And so we go to Bonnie's house after this, and the girls decide to play light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Oh, we all did that after this movie, man. Oh, me and all my friends did light as a feather.
Even when I hadn't watched this movie, I heard of it, but I'm sure my older cousins had watched this.
No, for sure, for sure. I love it. I just love this whole scene. To me, it's girlhood.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's the one thing I love about this movie, and I'm kind of sad that the friendships all fall apart and ends up being all about power and stuff like that, because I felt like the movie did a really good job of creating these like really good girlhood friendships.
This is a feel-good scene.
I felt like most of their relationship throughout the movie was like this really cool bond of friendship.
I agree.
And I was so bummed that it just all goes down the toilet,
Yeah, like the main point of the scene is to show they do have some type of power, and yeah, they're bonding.
And they're having fun.
Mhm.
Like, so they do light as a feather, stiff as a board. Rochelle starts, coming up in the air, rising up
Yeah.
in the air. And then the mom, like, peeks her head in.
Yeah, she's bringing in some towels.
Yeah, exactly. And anyway, Rochelle ends up hitting the floor.
Yeah, that breaks the concentration. Rochelle slams onto the ground.
They're all laughing.
The mom is like, "Are you girls getting high?"
Yeah, it was really cute. It was a great scene.
I loved it. And then we go back to the school. Sarah is
Slow-mo scene, baby.
yes. I can't go past that.
We
just
can't.
brush past that.
It's such an epic scene.
because now it's the four of them.
Now they are the witches. They're the group. They're the coven. They're fucking walking down the hall in slow motion. They look so badass.
And they know they're powerful, and it is exuding from them.
For sure.
And so now Sarah is walking past Laura in the hallway because she knows what Rochelle's wish is. She knows that Laura's been fucking with Rochelle.
Mm-hmm.
And so Sarah takes some of Laura's hair. She like rips it out when they
She
pass
like
each
walks
other.
right by her and just pulls it out.
Yeah, Laura's like, "You bitch."
yeah.
But I mean, she doesn't do anything. She's like, "All right, well, bye."
Mm-hmm.
And then we see Sarah
She's a
later.
fucking bully. You
She
know what I
is.
mean? Like bullies are all pussies.
Yeah, bully the bullies. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
That might be a hot take. I don't care.
No, I
And
don't.
so-
I'm with you.
Later, we see Sarah braiding the blonde hair into Rochelle's hair.
That's right.
And Nancy is like doing what looks like Reiki on Bonnie's
Yeah,
back.
on Bonnie's back. Yep.
And Bonnie just keeps repeating, "Take my scars, take my scars."
Oh, Manon,
So-
take my scars. It's so sad.
It's really sad. So we know that Sarah got her wish, or the spell came true for her.
yeah.
And now to me, this scene looks like maybe you could look at it as Sarah as trying to help Rochelle's desire come true with the hair.
Yeah.
Maybe Nancy is trying to help Bonnie's come true because I feel like Nancy and Sarah are the ones who have power here, or at least Sarah with the most power.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think in terms of like who has the most, it's like Sarah, then Nancy, and I think Bonnie and Rochelle are like on the same page here. Like I don't think
Yeah.
they're very powerful.
And when we get once we finish talking about the whole movie, there's more stuff that's said later where I went, oh, maybe the other two, maybe Rochelle and Bonnie didn't really have power and they just got it through Sarah and Nancy.
yeah, definitely could be for sure.
Yeah.
Sarah explains here that her mother died giving birth to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's an interesting thing to point out for sure.
Yeah, because Nancy will use it against her later because she's an asshole.
She's the worst. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now we go back to swim practice.
Oh boy.
Laura is on her usual bullshit, taunting Rochelle for no reason. And then, she yells something to her like, "Don't hit your head," when Rochelle's going to do a dive. And Laura takes her swim cap off and chunks of her hair are falling out, like to the point where her scalp is bleeding.
Her scalp is like raw.
Ugh, it looks so gross.
Yeah.
And then Rochelle sees this. She realizes what's happening and she hits a perfect
Like
dive.
a bomb ass dive.
I mean, at least what I imagine is a perfect dive.
well, even the teacher was
Exactly.
like, whoa.
The teacher reacted to it. I'm like, I don't really know anything about diving, but the
it's-
teacher,
it seemed to be good.
he was
Yeah.
impressed.
Mm-hmm.
Now we go back to the doctor with Bonnie.
Oh my God.
This was really sweet.
I know. So it's basically they're checking to see if the procedure worked, if the gene therapy worked. And all of a sudden, like the doctor uses like a little piece of gauze and her
Mhm.
scars just come peeling off like Elmer's glue.
Yeah, I wonder if it actually was.
Dude, it's so
something like that.
satisfying, man.
It looked so satisfying.
It really
this scene.
did. It's like when you have a sunburn and then you can like peel.
And the doctor was baffled.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh my gosh, it worked." And then, not Nancy. Why do I want to call everyone Nancy? I was going to say Nev. Bonnie has an emotional moment. Can you imagine like having scars like that? And it's just like, floop. just wipe them off.
I know, dude. And then she goes to school and she's late and she like makes some offhanded comment like, "Oh, sorry, my pedicure ran late." And she's wearing a tank or t-shirt. She looks happy. She looks confident. She's smiling.
Yep.
It's just a completely different Bonnie.
Yeah. When
Mhm.
we go into that scene, they kind of pan away from Chris's friends talking, and one of them, Brecken Myers, the actor's name, he's like, "If you don't stop, you can go blind." And then the other one's like, "Yeah, Harry Palms," which
Oh
is
yeah.
so funny. They're definitely talking about myths about masturbating.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. It's so funny. And then they thank Sarah. Like Bonnie thanks Sarah, Rochelle thanks Sarah, and Nancy is pissed. She like blows past them
Mhm.
and she's super pissed. And I want to say it's Rochelle or Bonnie say she's mad because her wish didn't come true yet,
Yeah,
essentially.
which makes a lot of sense. I think she's also mad that they're thanking Sarah.
For sure. Yeah, she's jealous.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Nancy goes back home. She's in her trailer. Her stepdad tries to grab at her. It's
Yeah.
so disgusting.
It's super gross, yeah.
Especially because the implication is there of abuse because her mom is like, "You're supposed to be a father to the girl." And then he's like, "I ain't her father. Her father's the one that paid you $50 for a quick bang in the back seat." And then her mom rightfully is like, "Shut up," or something. And then the dad gets up and grabs her, like pushes her on the couch, is about to hit her, and Nancy screams, "Stop!" And like sparks fly out of the microwave or whatever.
Dude, it's crazy.
Starts a fire. And then the dad ends up having a heart attack.
Massive heart attack.
I wrote, "He dies. Bye."
I literally wrote that whole scene. Nancy kills her stepfather with her magic.
Boom. That covers it.
That's it. But then the insurance policy dude shows up and he's basically tells them that they've inherited $175,000.
Mhm.
I guess he had a pretty big life insurance policy. And they both freak out. They're like, "Holy shit, we're rich." It equals out to about 350,000 today. So that is still a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's life-changing money.
Yeah,
I think so,
absolutely. For sure.
And the mom immediately buys a penthouse in downtown Los Angeles and a
Mhm.
really nice couch. It's not a nice couch, but she thinks it's a really nice couch.
And a jukebox that plays nothing but Connie Francis.
Yeah, I really pray that she handles the money well and
I was
doesn't
gonna
blow it
say,
all.
I feel like someone like that gets money, it probably isn't going to end well.
Because she comes across, she might be like an alcoholic or an addict, something.
Yeah. And like if you take all your money and you just do, I mean, obviously get out of the trailer, girl, for
Yeah,
sure.
buy something, rent something, whatever it is, but get a financial advisor, invest your money, like,
And maybe she was. Maybe she invested some of it. We don't know. But
but at the same time, go shopping too. Like,
Oh,
if I
yeah.
won, I'd be like, let's go shopping.
absolutely.
If I won that, meanwhile, it's an inheritance.
I mean, their reaction was so funny to it. I feel like they did win it because at first she was like, the mom was like, "What a sweet man," and she's like dabbing her eyes, and I was like, I don't know about that part. And then they just look at each other, Nancy and the mom, and they just start like screaming, almost like laughing.
They are so happy.
Yeah, they're like, "Yeah."
I mean, to be fair, I would be happy too.
I mean, he was a piece of shit. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they're in Nancy's room, Nancy's new room, and they're reading a book, and they're talking about the oldest form of magic, and it's the practice of amulets and charms.
Right.
And Sarah's like, "Oh, I can do that easy."
I can change my eye color.
Oh my gosh, I start doing these spells. You know, they start small. So she changes her green eyes to brown. The other girls like don't even really notice what she changed.
And they're all like, yeah, well, contacts can do that.
I
Like,
know.
Nancy, shut up.
It's so funny because then she changes her hair to blonde and they're like, "Wow." Like,
yeah,
okay.
she does like she like holds her face, hides it, and then brings her hands up over her hair, and her hair is blonde. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with that.
Oh, yeah.
Obsessed with this whole scene.
That makes sense. But it's so funny how like Nancy tries to shit on her like contacts can do that. Okay, hair dye can dye your hair blonde.
Yeah, she's just being an asshole.
Yeah, but then with the blonde, everyone is impressed.
Oh my god, they all love it. They're like laughing and smiling, and then she shakes her head, and like the blonde hair goes away.
Yeah, it goes back to brown.
It's
and
cool.
then Rochelle's like, "Make my hair blonde," and Nancy's like, "I want a smaller ass." 96 was a different time because nobody wishes for that now.
I know.
You'd be like, "Make my butt bigger and my waist smaller." Thanks.
Fix my long back for me, please.
Stop. So then we cut to 3 a.m. where Chris is sitting outside Sarah's house.
Okay, and this is totally like that thing too of like in 80s rom-coms or whatever, teen movies. Like the guy sitting down by your window, like calling up to you would have been like so romantic. But the way they play it here, it's like it's so obvious, like it's not romantic at all. It's actually
No.
super creepy. It's 3 a.m. What are you doing outside my window?
Yeah, not only sitting out there, but he immediately is like, "We should move in together."
Oh, he is totally obsessed and in love with her. And she's like, "What are you doing?" Like,
Yeah, you need to go home. The dad ends up like coming out the window with a flashlight, like, excuse me.
yeah, and Chris is like, "I can't eat, I can't sleep, blah blah blah." And the father's like, "Yeah, get out of here." He said I think the father says like, "Can I help you?" And Chris responds with, "No one can help me."
Yeah,
Interesting.
which is true.
Mhm.
And so Sarah goes back to the occult store after this, and she's asking that same woman from before, "How do you reverse a love spell?"
Yeah.
And the woman's basically like, it doesn't work that way."
Yeah, she's gotta let it it's gotta run its course.
Yeah, she says true magic is neither black nor white. It's because nature is both. So it is also both.
That's right, it's balanced.
She also says whatever you send out, you get back times 3.
That was a huge after this movie, I mean, again, me and my friends would say that shit all the time.
Still to this day, I hear people saying that. I imagine that is an actual belief across many different belief systems.
I mean, like, what goes around comes around is definitely karma and
She also says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I feel like that's in every type of like religion,
absolutely.
whatever belief. And so Nancy is there too. She wants to buy a book on how to invoke the spirit. And the woman is like, you need to be experienced to do this.
Right, exactly.
And Nancy's like, just sell me the book. Of course. Now we cut to the beach. Every girl has an animal. Okay, Bonnie has a fish. Rochelle has a butterfly. Sarah has a bird. Nancy has a snake.
Mhm.
And they start going around and saying this spell in a circle. You know, there's a fire on the beach. They put rocks around them, and they start reciting this. I was about to say recipe. They start
I mean,
reciting this spell.
it kinda is a recipe.
It is a recipe for disaster because she's trying to invoke the spirit. I wrote down Nancy low key looks like Chucky trying to summon Dumbala.
Oh my god, when you said that last night, I was howling.
Because she
Dumbala!
has her arms up like this. She has the piercing blue eyes when he's like, I summoned the whatever he says
Yeah.
in Child's Play. That's exactly what she looked like. And she's asking Manon to fill her, which creeps me out every time.
Every time she says that, I'm like, "Oh boy,
I know.
that's pretty
And
sexual."
it is. And then Nancy appears to get struck by lightning.
Yes.
The girls wake up the next morning, I think, because it was nighttime when they were doing that. And then they wake up, it's daytime. Nancy is literally walking on water in the ocean.
Dude, it's like some Jesus Christ stuff.
Yeah, I think he was known to do that.
That's what Jesus did, right?
And she's like, "Can you feel that? I can feel him running through my veins." She's like lucid here. I don't even know if that's the word that you use, but it just sounds right.
I think that works. I think lucid it works.
Yeah. We hear the police or like a siren, and we're like, I'm like, oh, are they coming to arrest this woman for walking on water? But they pan over, and we see like sharks and all these large fish.
Oh, it made me so sad. They're all like washed up to shore.
Yeah, all lined
Ugh.
up along the beach, like a weird amount to where you know something weird's going on.
Made me so sad.
And Nancy's like rubbing on one of them, and she's like, "This is a gift from Manon," and she's just like,
Oh yeah, she loves it. And the rest of the girls are kind of like, especially Sarah. Sarah's like, this ain't right.
"Yeah." And
Yeah.
Nancy's like, "I'm your daughter now." She sounds crazy when she says it.
Dude, yeah, it's wild.
So they're driving around later that night, and Sarah's had enough. She's like, "This is enough."
Yeah.
You know, Bonnie, you used to be so nice, and now you're completely narcissistic.
Which I felt like that was pretty aggressive.
It felt extreme, but I think I think there's more that happened that we didn't see,
Yeah.
is what I imagine.
I know there are deleted scenes, so.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I haven't seen any deleted scenes. I should have found them before I watched this. But all we've seen is that Nancy now has confidence. We didn't see the narcissism side. So maybe there's a deleted scene about it.
I'm just saying, like, she's had awful scars all over her back. Just let her enjoy herself, man.
Yeah. So she warns them that now we're getting what we want, but it's going to come back to us threefold. And Nancy's just over it, of course, because she's been over Sarah before they even met, really.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
Nancy's been
really?"
threatened since the very beginning.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And now she's like, "Really, Sarah? Really?" Because she's also driving, she's speeding up as she sees red lights. And she's like, "Hey, girls, is that light red? What color's that light?" And then she speeds up, and right as she gets there, it turns green.
Mhm.
So at first I thought she was changing it on purpose, but I think she was just showing like all the luck is in their favor. Because then uh Sarah says to her, "You know, one day, Nancy, the light's not going to be green." So to me, that implies she wasn't changing it on purpose. And then she floors it because she's getting annoyed at Sarah. And they drive through a red light. The light doesn't change, and they almost get into an accident.
That's interesting. I didn't yeah, I didn't take it like that. I thought she was changing the lights. But yeah, I don't know. That's interesting.
I did at first. It's only because of what Sarah says,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
also that they almost crash.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
And so back at school in the locker room, we see Laura on the floor in the shower. She's crying. Her head straight up looks like the Crypt Keeper.
Dude, it really does.
Like
It's like Chop
stringy.
Top.
Yeah, like Chop Top in Texas Chainsaw 2. And she's like, this is, of course, the typical fucking bully that plays the victim. She's like,
yeah.
what did I do to deserve this?
It's just like, well, maybe don't be a racist piece of shit.
Yeah, I think you did a lot to deserve it, actually. So, yeah, Rochelle sees this and she's just like, I mean, I don't know. We don't know how she feels, but she's just observing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we see Chris.
I feel like, yeah, Rochelle almost looks taken aback by it.
Yeah. Like,
to me, it didn't look like she was satisfied.
Yeah, the first time she was satisfied.
Now she looks freaked out.
Now she's probably like, oh, this isn't stopping. This is going to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Then we see that Chris is begging Sarah to go to dinner with him, and she does eventually agree, which I was like, why? But maybe she's just like, huh. I think she doesn't have anyone to talk to now that the other 3 girls are being wild.
That's exactly why she went with him, for sure. Yeah.
So she's like, I guess I'll talk to my other one friend who's obsessed with me.
Oh, God. And he is insufferable. She can't even have a conversation with him. He's just like obsessed with her.
Yeah. Puppy dog is the perfect way to put it. Yeah, he's and I get it. I get why she wanted to talk to him, but also you want to talk to someone that's under a spell. Like they're gonna agree with everything you say. You're just gonna be talking to a wall, basically.
Yeah, and I think she's realizing that as they're,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? She's
does,
talking.
Yeah, he does tell her at one point, "I can't think, I just feel," which is the spell.
It's a
So
spell,
he
yeah.
realizes something is happening, but he doesn't know what.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's asking him to go home. They're in his car, right? And she's asking him to go home, and he's like, no, you can't go home. And he's like, wait, I'll give you a back rub. And she's like, I don't want to fucking
Oh,
back
God,
rub.
I hate this scene, man.
Hate it.
I know.
I'm glad it only goes so far. But she gets out of the car. He starts chasing after her. He knocks her to the ground, and he's about to assault her. He's about to sexually assault her.
Yeah.
And she is able to hit him and get away. Thank God.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were watching this, we were rewatching it. I was like, oh God, please tell me that he doesn't.
Oh, my God, I know.
And I was so glad she got away. And she ends up at Rochelle's house, and she's of course like all dirty. She's shaken up.
It's so heartbreaking. Yeah.
Yeah. And so all the girls are there now. So they called all, Nancy and Bonnie over as well.
Mm-hmm.
While Sarah is telling them what happens, Nancy's visibly upset. Like she has tears in her eyes.
Yeah, she's pissed. Yeah.
And they realize that, Nancy's like, where's Chris right now? And they realize that there's a party tonight, and Chris will likely be there.
And Sarah says that his eyes looked empty, like he wasn't even him, like he wasn't himself.
Yeah.
That's how Sarah describes him.
Which is interesting because on one hand, it's like, yeah, you put a spell on him. But on the other hand, I feel like maybe he's already done this to someone else. So I don't know.
I don't know. When I was listening to Skeet's interview, he said like that Chris was possessed and that's why he did that.
Okay.
So, I mean, because I hate to like give this guy any credit.
Yeah.
But like sleeping with someone and being an asshole is one thing.
Right.
And then forcing yourself on someone is something different.
That's very true.
So I don't know, but he certainly presents to be such an asshole that it would not surprise me if he's taken advantage of women in the past.
Right.
It's just like you just don't know because there is that spell.
That's true. It is interesting too, the fact that I thought, for some reason I was under the impression that he assaulted Nancy. But then what we're going to see, it doesn't confirm that.
No.
So I don't know why I just had that in my mind going into rewatching this. And then when I was actually writing down notes, I'm like, he doesn't. Or they don't say that he did. In my mind,
she takes advantage of him.
Yeah, we're about to see that. It is interesting. It's interesting. It's almost like that Mandela effect. I just had it in my mind that Nancy was going to give some big reveal that like, oh, he assaulted me. That's why he was saying, he assaulted me and then spread all these rumors about me.
Right. Yeah.
But that's not confirmed in this movie.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. It's something to think about though.
Yeah.
Like what his, who he really was. I mean, he was an asshole, obviously.
Definitely an asshole. But Nancy goes to this party. She is looking goth as fuck, okay?
Mm-hmm.
She's definitely set apart from the other kids. Mm-hmm. That didn't seem to be a thing at this school, okay?
Right.
Everyone's dressed very differently than Nancy is.
Shit, and this is 96, so this is like the height of Marilyn Manson. This is like, yeah. I remember. It wasn't satanic panic, but there was still some satanic panic. Like people thought Marilyn Manson was legitimately the devil.
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Nancy finds Chris. She tells him to follow her upstairs. She's kind of like, come on, Chris. Chris definitely seems very drunk here.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. He's
And
hammered, yeah.
they get to a room. He lays on a bed.
And he's kind of passing in and out. Like he's
He lays down.
he's laying down. He's like his eyes are closed, they're open. It's just like he's blackout.
Yeah, he has a cup with him, so he's clearly drinking. Nancy gets on top of him. She's kind of like crawling up. It seems like she's trying to seduce him here.
For sure, for sure.
And she's telling him how, we had some pretty hot times together. Clearly, they have hooked up at some point.
Yes.
I assume by the way she's saying it, it was consensual.
It seemed that way.
At some point.
Yeah. She tries to like undo his pants and he's stopping her.
Yeah, he's stopping her. He's kind of pushing her away. She's trying to kiss him.
He's saying no.
Yeah.
He says go away.
He does push her off of him and says go away. And now
she falls.
She falls and she's pissed.
Okay, so when I was a kid, I felt super bad for Nancy for getting pushed off.
Yeah.
Right? I felt terrible.
And at this point, you're like, Chris is an asshole.
He is.
Period.
He is an asshole. But she was trying to have sex with him and he was saying no.
Exactly.
And if the roles were reversed, we would be having a different conversation.
Oh yeah.
But I also get that he tried to assault Sarah. So but then assaulting him doesn't make that right.
Exactly.
I don't know. I felt like it was such like it was like tripping me out.
It gets hard to talk about because you're like, okay, in 96 mentality, you're thinking, okay, they're showing he tried to assault your friend, you're going to get revenge on him.
Right.
And I feel like that was definitely, back then, 90s, 80s, 70s, whatever, it was very much like, oh, revenge, yes.
But I also don't know that she was doing that on Sarah's behalf.
Oh,
I just don't believe that because of how she's acted the whole movie. Like,
this could have been a jealousy thing.
Thing. Maybe she wanted to be desired by Chris.
Yes.
I don't know. I hate to even say that because it sounds so icky.
But based on what we know about Nancy, it's a very big possibility that she was like, oh, you tried to come on to Sarah? Like, no, we hooked up in the past. Like, she feels like jealous that he's interested in her and not him.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I just don't think it's as like, I don't think it's as clear cut as
not
like,
black and white.
No, I think it's definitely like, I don't know. When she was coming on to him and kind of forcing herself, it was making me feel really
if somebody
icky.
is telling you no, or even if someone looks unsure, or even if someone is just drunk,
you're done.
The answer is no.
The answer is no. 100%. You can't give consent. Like if consent is not there, like very clearly there.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter if you're a girl coming onto a guy.
Doesn't matter.
Rules still apply.
100%. That's what I'm saying. So when he shoves her off and she starts crying, but she looks filled with rage.
Yeah.
It's like the rejection, right?
Yeah. And who knows what she was planning?
Yeah.
Like, who fucking knows?
Who knows? That's so true because
I want to say, okay, you knew that he tried to assault your friend, go beat him up. But then also, if she walks
string
to the party,
him up like a fucking Christmas tree. You know what I'm saying?
But if she goes in there and starts beating him up, then they're like, oh, she's crazy. She's, and he can just say, I didn't do that. I never tried to assault her. So like,
it's so
who
tough.
Knows?
Dude, you know what I just got a fucking craving for? This has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
What?
Cheesy bread. It just like popped into my head. I went, you know what? I could really go for some cheesy bread.
I love how in the middle of this conversation, you're like, cheesy bread, go. We should get some.
This is the beauty of ADHD. You can be in two different places at once.
Yeah. But what Nancy does next is worse.
Whoa, dude.
Nancy changes her face to Sarah's face. Same way Sarah was changing her hair earlier, like hands in front of her face and then going like that over her head. And now she has Sarah's face and she says, make love to me, Chris. And at first I thought, oh, was this really Sarah pretending to be Nancy?
Right.
And trying to like trick him into something, confessing something. I don't know. But no, it's Nancy pretending to be Sarah. And
so this just adds another layer to like how fucked up this whole scene is.
Yeah, because Chris, being in love with Sarah, starts making out with her. He's not thinking, wait a minute, you just changed your face. Probably because he's drunk and also because of the spell.
100%. Yeah.
He sees Sarah and he's like, I'm in love with you. And I wrote, that's assault, brother. Like, what is it called? I feel like I have to look it up so I know the right word, but you're tricking someone into thinking that something is happening, but it's not true.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like pure manipulation.
It's manipulation. It's like, I don't know if it counts as coercion, but you make him think that he's making out with a different person.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's assault.
Yeah.
I really do think that.
It is assault. No,
It's
it is.
assault.
100%.
It's like what like
Yeah.
what you're doing doesn't make it's not what you're doing is not right
Yeah.
just because what he did was wrong.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't it made me so uncomfortable. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah. And so now the other girls are arriving at the party.
Mhm.
And Laura is in there, and I don't know if this is even important to the plot, but I wrote it down that Laura's there. She has an obvious wig on, and she talks to Rochelle. Like, I think she's going to apologize. I don't know that anything even came of that, so maybe we're just seeing that Rochelle is getting that forgiveness type of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. But Sarah now walks into the room where Nancy is, and obviously is like, what in the actual fuck? Because she sees her own face on the bed.
Dude, it's crazy.
Can you imagine?
No.
Seeing yourself?
No, dude. So it's scary.
And Nancy immediately turns back to herself.
Dude.
And, Sarah's like, okay, you've scared him enough. Like,
Let's go.
It's enough.
Yeah, and Chris is spooked. Chris is like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, thank goodness they were just making out at this point. Not that that's okay, but like it didn't go any further before Sarah came in there. Chris is obviously freaked out and is like, you're a witch. And then Nancy's telling Chris, you're under a spell. That's the only reason you like her. So that does speak to maybe she's feeling jealous.
Right. And she's like, that's why you're so in love with her. And Sarah just wants them to go.
Yeah.
Sarah's just like, we gotta go. You've done enough. But Nancy wants him to pay.
Yeah, and Nancy has one of her iconic lines here where Chris does call her jealous.
Yeah, he does. He says she's jealous.
And she's like, jealous? You don't even exist to me, which is a pretty epic line.
I love that line. It might be one of my favorites in the movie. You don't exist to me. You're nothing.
And
you're nothing. You don't exist. That is.
Yeah.
I love it.
But also, like, why were you making out with him then?
Oh, she's projecting for sure. She also calls him a whore.
That he treats everyone like whores. Yeah.
Yeah. I think she's super jealous of Sarah.
Yeah.
And he hurt her, right? Like he did.
Yeah.
She's obviously hurt by him.
Regardless of what happened between them before,
Yeah.
he's been spreading rumors about her.
Yeah.
And like telling everyone that she's a quote unquote slut.
Right.
And Nancy has a fucking breakdown here.
Dude, she goes off the fucking rails. And he starts apologizing.
Yeah. She starts screaming. The windows, it's like a giant window door to a balcony type of thing.
Yeah, like
flies open.
Like Shakespeare.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think of.
Yeah.
Flies open and she sends him out and he goes over the edge.
Dude, she like yeets him out the window.
Literally yeets him out the window and he dies. It's the second story. He falls into the concrete below. So the scene ends there. We don't see Chris on the floor, but
he's dead.
He's dead.
Yeah.
Just so you know, he's dead.
He did, yeah.
We cut to Sarah, who is cutting a picture of Nancy out from like a group photo, and she's doing a spell to bind Nancy from doing harm against others and to herself.
Yep.
And Sarah has a dream here that the other three fly into her window like the Sanderson sisters. That's what it looked like. And start choking her.
Yeah.
But it's just a dream. The next day at school, Sarah's upset. She doesn't want to be there. She locks herself in a bathroom stall.
Like,
I know.
they're just such, like, they're just so mean now.
Yeah.
They, like, all the power's gone to their head. They just had such a great friendship all together, and they just blew it up.
Yeah.
So they go, she's in the bathroom stall. She's trying to, like, catch her breath. The bathroom stall starts unlocking, and there we see Nancy, Rochelle, and Bonnie, and they look sinister. They do not look like their regular selves. They look scary.
Yeah, and they use magic to unlock the bathroom stall too.
And Nancy, they try to intimidate her. They try to intimidate Sarah. They know that Sarah's leaving the circle. Nancy also knows that Sarah put a binding spell on her. She's like, can you please not put any spells on me? Thank you. So she knows.
Yeah.
And they kind of they threaten Sarah, and they're like, okay, you can leave, but you probably don't want to go to school here. And you probably want to leave the city and maybe even planet Earth. We haven't decided yet.
I know, like what?
Yeah, like it's all really gone to their head, like the power.
Yeah.
And then they just walk out.
Yep, they're like, bye.
And Nancy also does say, do you know what they used to do in the olden days when a witch would betray her coven? They would kill her. Okay, bye.
Basically, yeah.
Like our fucking send off.
Yeah. And they don't need a fourth anymore, so they don't need Sarah.
They're just using her, man.
Yeah. And so Sarah goes back to that occult store once again because she needs shop. She needs help from the shop owner.
Yes, yes, yes.
She needs shop from the help owner. And Sarah tells her what's going on. These girls are after her. They've killed people. She can read my mind. They're in my head. And she hugs the shop owner. There was a moment here I thought the shop owner was going to be Nancy
Oh, okay.
because
Yeah, yeah.
they kind of zoom in on the shop owner's face, and I'm like, is she about to do the thing where she reveals she's
Oh,
actually
yeah. And then
someone
she was
else?
like a shake off.
But no, it was really the shop owner. And I wish I got her name or something. I keep calling her the shop owner, but she tells her, come to the back room with me.
Mm.
And there's like a pentagram on the floor. She tells Sarah that she can sense that she has a tremendous light inside of her.
Mm.
And she's like, you can hear the voice of your mother. And your mother was a witch too. Sarah did not know that. So now we know why Sarah has,
The
it was
gifts.
hereditary.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells Sarah, you must invoke the spirit. And Sarah's like, no,
Hell to the no.
no, I saw what that did to Nancy. It made her crazy. And she said, no, Nancy brings it to a dark place.
Yeah.
And so they're doing the thing. Wind starts blowing.
Which really does make sense because Nancy's filled with rage.
Exactly. And, wind starts blowing. Shit starts going down. I think there's a little explosion at some point. And Sarah gets really freaked out and runs. And the shop owner's like, no, wait, don't leave. But she just can't handle it. She goes home. She finds out her dad is gone. And she gets a phone call. And it's Nancy.
Mm-hmm.
And Nancy says, yeah, your family's gone. They flew back home to San Francisco. They thought you ran away. And as she's saying this, Sarah sees written down on a newspaper the flight number, like flight 321 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like he would have written it down in a hurry.
Right.
And Nancy's like, there's been an accident. Oh, you haven't seen? It's
Oh,
all over the news.
dude, this scene is so messed up,
This
man.
is so fucked up.
Yeah, it is. What a way to fuck with someone.
For real.
It's horrible.
And so Sarah turns on the news and she sees that specific flight has crashed.
Right.
And I wrote down, did that really happen or is it an illusion? Which we'll find out it was an illusion.
It's illusion, yeah.
But at first I don't know. I'm like, did Nancy make this fucking plane crash?
Dude, I know. It's crazy.
Then the lights start flickering. Sarah runs outside and I mean, there are snakes, spiders, worms, maggots, mice everywhere, covering all the steps, hanging from the trees. They're like, at one point, she goes back in the house and she goes to a specific door and there's like a window on the door and the snakes and other insects are like piled up
Yeah.
to where you can't even open the door.
This
They would
is like, dude, this is like when I told you about all the flies, remember?
oh,
The flies in my house.
I'm
Yeah, that's what it
surprised-
looked like.
I'm surprised I didn't have flies here too. But I mean, there's like every type of rodent creature that phobias exist around
Yeah.
in this house.
Yep, yep.
Scorpions in the sink. There were snakes coming out of drains, worms coming out of the toilet. Mice are falling from the ceiling onto Sarah. Like it was a lot.
Mhm.
They had a lot of. I have later on in my notes. I have the number of how many creatures they had on set.
Whoa, okay.
And Sarah's in a corner at one point. I think she's in the shower screaming, "Stop it!" And then Nancy opens the shower door and is like, "Gotcha." So
Awful.
she's fucking with her,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
And Nancy says here, if I was as pathetic as you, I would have killed myself ages ago. You should just get on with it.
It's so dark. It's so horrible.
It's so 90s.
Yeah.
And so she turns on the shower.
Yeah, and she uses Sarah's vulnerabilities against her.
Yeah, she's trying to get Sarah to a breaking point.
Mm-hmm.
And so she turns the shower on. So Sarah has to get out of the shower. And all the creatures are gone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we know it was an illusion. The other three, Bonnie, Rochelle, Nancy, are now all downstairs. And, Sarah's like, where's my dad? Where's Jenny? And Nancy says, you'll be seeing them soon. You're going to kill yourself tonight, dear. That's just a little intense.
Yes,
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
And Nancy tells Sarah, you killed Chris and you killed your mom when you were coming out of her. That's really special. Like, just the worst things. Like, Nancy is a classic high school, you just say the most cutthroat thing you can possibly think of.
Yeah, and she's also like heavily influenced now by Manon. She's possessed too, I would say.
Mhm.
She's got too much power.
Too much power.
And Nancy, if you look at her home life, she was probably ignored, belittled, abused, and she just projects that onto Sarah.
Yeah, this is the first time she's probably felt powerful ever, like truly powerful.
For sure.
And I don't even blame it on Manon because we'll see him a little, or that deity a little more in the end. Or even just really with the shop owner saying like, no, it's not invoking the spirit. Nancy's the one that brought it to the dark place.
Right, because Nancy's so filled with rage.
Yeah.
And what she says to Sarah, again, she's using what she knows is painful in Sarah's life against her.
Yep.
It's like every narcissist does that.
Yeah. And so they start to float, the other three, and Rochelle's like, I don't get it. Why doesn't she use magic on us? And Nancy's like, because she's weak. And she just like loses it. She's intense.
Yeah, she's crazy.
She's also a great actress.
Great actress, yeah.
And so they start chanting, now is the end. Let her go in peace, over and over, which is real, real sinister.
Uh-huh.
A note falls down and it looks like a suicide note. And it's in Sarah's handwriting. And it says, I killed Chris. I'm sorry. So they're trying to blame it on him too, which also I guess they haven't said if it's an accident or not. So maybe they just want that case to be closed.
Yeah, yeah.
And Nancy goes, what happened to your scar, Sarah?
Oh my God.
And then she like cuts at Sarah's arms. So then she starts bleeding. Sarah goes upstairs to get a towel. Downstairs, Nancy's telling Rochelle and Bonnie, like, go get her. And they're just kind of like,
Yeah.
why do we have to go? And Nancy's like, get your lazy ass upstairs or I'll slit your throat.
Yeah.
Like, bitch, who the fuck is you talking to?
I know, right?
But she has a lot of power right now, so I don't think they're gonna defy her.
No, and also there's a deleted scene where Nancy kind of bullies Rochelle and Bonnie into like being on her side, which is like because there is like a pretty steep change between how Rochelle and Bonnie were treating Sarah to now.
Yeah.
And they took out a scene where you see Nancy using their vulnerabilities and their kind of PTSD against them.
Okay.
So, and she obviously is doing that against Sarah as well.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense with the ending too.
Yeah.
So Sarah's upstairs and she got a towel and now she's lying on the floor invoking the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
She's chanting. And when Rochelle and Bonnie get up to the room, they see themselves in a mirror because Sarah has cast a spell on them real quick.
Yep.
Just a real quick spell. And they see their weaknesses or their insecurities.
Yep.
So Bonnie's face is covered in scars in the reflection, and Rochelle is losing all her hair.
Losing her hair, yeah. Yeah.
And they're out. They're like, all right, that's enough for us. We're going to dip. Which I'm like, why didn't you do that in the first place? Like,
Yeah.
Nancy doesn't, she is like, where are you going? But she doesn't do anything to them.
I think also they're probably scared of Nancy.
They're scared of Nancy, and now I think they're really scared of what they saw, which is now overpowering their fear of Nancy.
For sure, yeah.
So, Sarah's upstairs still trying to invoke the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
She sees the picture of her mom. Her mom starts moving in the picture, kind of just symbolizing that she's there with her.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah's able to finish the spell, invoke the spirit of Manon, and all the blood starts going back into her arms.
Dude, it's wild.
That is wild. And Nancy's going through the house looking for Sarah. Sarah is hiding at this point in Nancy's reflection in the mirror, which is really cool.
It is really cool, yeah.
Like we see Nancy in the mirror, Nancy's reflection turns around, and then it's like Sarah, she steps out of the mirror.
It's a cool effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sarah has a new confidence now that she's finished that spell.
Mm-hmm.
And Nancy's like, how are you not dead? And Sarah's like, he came to me. He saved me, bitch.
Oh my God. And I think that hurts Nancy more than actually physically hurting her.
No, for real. And she says, he wants me to give you a message. You've abused the power he's given you, and now you have to pay.
Dude.
Get her.
Threefold, man.
Yeah, threefold.
Mm-hmm.
And so now bugs start crawling all over Nancy. She falls to the ground. Her fingers are turning into snakes. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Nancy's on the ground. She's freaking out. And then it stops. And Sarah's like, it's only magic. Yeah. And she's like, now who's pathetic?
It's so
Got
good.
Her.
Yeah.
Got her.
Yep.
Now Nancy's apologizing. She's like, I'm sorry, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then Sarah's like, good. Okay, awesome. And then she starts trying to bind her again from doing harm against herself or others.
Yep.
And now Nancy's like, hold on, wait, because obviously she doesn't want that. She grabs the dagger and just like flies toward her, tries to kill her. She's on top of Sarah, but they're like against the wall instead of the floor.
Yeah.
They look like they're on the floor, but like those rooms that make it look like you're on the ceiling?
I do, yeah,
like those illusions, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's going wild. She's like, you bitch, I'll kill you. Like just losing it. And papers are all flying around. It's so chaotic.
Isn't it so funny how she tried so hard again to manipulate her into forgiving her, into like putting her guard down? Because Nancy would have immediately killed her the second Sarah, gave her any inch.
Absolutely. That's why she's like, I'm sorry. Trying to get Sarah to be like, okay. Now a dresser comes flying and Nancy moves out of the way at the last second and it slams into the wall, seemingly where Sarah was.
Right.
And so Nancy unburies like all the debris and stuff. She's trying to find Sarah, but it's just her uniform laying there and it's flat.
Isn't that so freaking cool? I love
Yeah.
that. And I loved it also when I was a kid. I thought that was so neat.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And there's a moment where I'm like, okay, did she just disappear and now she's like naked somewhere? But no, Nancy kind of knows. She's like tricky, and she goes to stab the uniform. But Sarah reappears in the uniform and kicks Nancy into a mirror. And then while Nancy's down, she's able to finish the spell to bind her.
Yep.
So that the chaos is over. We cut to sometime in the near future. Some time has passed.
Mhm.
And Bonnie and Rochelle are showing up to Sarah's house to apologize.
Of course. Yeah, they want to be buddy with her now.
Yeah, now that your powerful leader is taken out, now you want to be sorry. Okay, whatever.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess. And Sarah's like, "Oh, are you sorry about trying to kill me?"
Right. Exactly.
Which right answer.
Mhm.
But Sarah also says like she's able to sleep again at night, so she's doing well.
Yep.
And we see Sarah's dad like, "Hey, girls." So he did not die.
Yeah. Still alive.
That's where it confirmed it for me.
Mhm.
And Sarah asks if they. Oh no, not Sarah. They ask Sarah if she has any powers anymore because they don't. Neither of them have powers. And Sarah doesn't answer. But as Bonnie and Rochelle are leaving, Rochelle says something shitty. She's like, she probably doesn't have powers anymore anyway.
Yep.
And then Sarah hears this and she like whips around. The wind's blowing in her hair.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, a storm starts coming in really fast and lightning strikes a branch that falls right at Rochelle and Bonnie's feet. And Sarah says, "Be careful. You don't want to end up like Nancy." I was like, ooh, I thought Nancy, I'm like, I don't know what happened to Nancy. And then we cut to Nancy, who is now being strapped to a bed and screaming in what looks like an institution.
It's institution. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
She has cuts on her face and she keeps yelling about how she's flying.
Yeah.
And that's how the movie ends.
It's pretty tragic. Pretty tragic ending to
It's
Nancy.
definitely tragic. I mean, Nancy was definitely a piece of shit,
For
but
sure.
it's still sad.
It's still sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Especially just knowing Nancy's home life.
Oh,
and,
yeah. So that is The Craft, y'all.
That is The Craft. Dude, I love this freaking movie.
I love it. It's so a lot of what we cover is nostalgic, but
For sure. But this just, I don't know. When I was a young girl, this movie was like empowering to me. Like I was like, oh my God, I could be a witch. I
Yeah.
could have power, you know?
for sure.
Do you know 85 actresses screen tested for the 4 main roles, including Angelina Jolie, Scarlett Johansson, and Alicia Silverstone?
Can you imagine though, like the cast being, oh my gosh,
No, dude, so crazy.
so interesting?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so about the snakes, there were around 2,000 snakes used in the climax of the film. So at Sarah's house when they were just coming
Whoa.
out of the drains, piled up on the door, and lots of bugs.
Oh God.
There was a fake cockroach. The director's commentary is on like an extended version on the what's it called?
Like a DVD or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Fleming says that there was a fake cockroach that they used on Bach's face, on Nancy's face,
Mhm.
but like maggots, rats, other roaches, all those were real.
Whoa.
And so they had the house sealed on the set. So and the roaches were bred specifically for the film so that if they did escape, they could not reproduce.
Whoa.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
That's ugh.
Oh
Just-
gosh.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we don't have giant cockroaches in Michigan. If you do, it's like a health concern. Your face.
I know. I'm like, oh God.
Well,
No, I don't think we have those in Canada.
no, because it's too cold.
Or Buffalo.
It's tropical areas that have gigantic cockroaches.
It's
or like-
making my stomach
I'm
turn.
sorry.
I'm like, oh my God. And I'd never kill them either. If they were I'd just let them live there. I have such a hard time killing anything.
There are certain things that if they infest your house, it's a problem.
I know.
But just don't let it happen. Just don't let it
No,
happen.
I'm not gonna let it happen. I'm not gonna let it happen.
So you don't have to worry about it. But like, yeah, if we have cockroaches here, they're so tiny. But if
They're
you,
little. Yeah.
I had to explain. Okay, so like in Hawaii, cockroaches in your house is like normal.
Oh, okay.
They're like ants.
Yeah.
You know, I have random ants walking around the house.
Sure,
it just
sure,
happens.
sure. Yeah.
But I was explaining to someone like, no, in Michigan, if you have a cockroach in your house,
Bad.
it's a problem.
Oh, it's a
like,
real
We
problem.
gotta like torch the fucking, not really torch the house.
Yeah,
but,
we're
like,
fumigating.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it means something went real bad.
No, I agree for sure. Little fun fact.
Yeah.
So Firuza Balk actually bought an oddity store. It's called Panpipe's Magical Marketplace in Hollywood.
Okay.
She was interested in learning more about the occult, I assume, for this role, and she ended up buying the store. And it was rumored that she was a witch and that she studied Wiccan. No, not true. She's quoted as saying she's not a Wiccan, but she did like research it and studied some stuff, especially for this film, and she owned the oddity shop.
That's so interesting.
Hmm.
I love that. Does she still own it? I'm gonna look into it.
I don't think she does anymore.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure she doesn't.
Actors and members of this crew did claim that during the ritual scene on the beach, some strange things started to happen.
Ooh, okay. Let's hear it.
So Bach had heard from a witch that the beach didn't like pagan ceremonies,
Huh.
and she got sick before filming. I'm gonna link the article that this is from
Yeah,
in the show
please.
notes.
Yeah, yeah.
And when they came back to the beach to shoot the scene, the lights went out and the altar was washed away. And
Whoa.
she says it was strange because when we would get to the invocation, the surf came up higher and then it would go down when we stopped.
Whoa.
That freaks me out. Ew, I just got chills.
Yeah, that
Because I don't know
is.
why I've always been saying ew lately when I get chills. I
Oh,
think
I
I'm
love
just
it.
not expecting to feel it.
Yeah.
But just with like when you're talking about, that type of thing and the water and the ocean and the moon and all that, I'm like, it's all linked.
Yeah.
Even if no matter how whether you believe in it or not, like the ocean is linked to us somehow.
Yeah, I mean, we're
You
all
know?
stardust, aren't we?
There
We're
we
all
go.
connected.
Yeah. And
That's crazy.
yeah, it's very creepy. But there's no some people I'm sure believe there's a natural explanation for why that happened. There usually
Sure.
can be a natural explanation.
Yeah.
But it's interesting.
Oh, I think it's very interesting. I love that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
I also thought it was interesting that the craft was supposed to be PG-13.
Dude,
Isn't that interesting?
that is crazy.
Because when you think about it, there's not anything compared to other movies that's too gory or graphic that I can think of off the top of my head. But
I think it's the themes, right?
it's the witchcraft. So they found out later that the ratings board automatically gave R ratings to films about witchcraft.
Satanic Panic.
It makes so much sense in the 90s. I
Yeah.
wonder if it's still that way. I doubt it.
I doubt it. Because I feel like, I mean, the Satanic Panic was really more like 70s, 80s, but it still was prevalent in the 90s, especially with like we were talking about earlier with Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was like, people were crazy when and this came out around that time.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there was a lot of like controversy around the film.
Yeah. Fleming says they only dropped one F-bomb in the script, which I'm trying to remember when it even was.
When Sarah tells Chris off.
Yeah, she says, fuck you.
Yep.
That, of course, how could I forget that? Because they wanted it to be PG-13 and they knew one was all they could get away with. So what a bummer. Like, you think he's probably like, damn, well, in that case, if it was going to be rated R, we could have done so much more with it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but I found that really interesting.
It is. Yeah, I think, parents being afraid of like, evil and witchcraft and all of that stuff. I mean, I think people still are like weirded out by it, but it's definitely like more accepted now. I think people aren't as like crazy about Satanic Panic.
Yeah, I'm sure the ones that are, but it doesn't seem to be as big as it was back in the day of just everyone overall feeling the Satanic Panic of it.
For sure, yeah.
I also just realized I totally missed an opportunity to wear the original Hex shirt. Me and my tag team partner, Marty Bell, are the
Aw.
Hex. And the original design that we chose was based on the cover of The Craft.
Really?
Yep. And I found another Hex shirt.
That one's a great shirt too.
Thanks. I do love this shirt. And I think this was a gift from Marty, actually. But yeah, I totally should have shown that shirt on screen, but it's okay. We don't have them available anymore anyway.
I freaking love The Craft. I'm so glad we covered it. I don't know if it's considered horror, but I don't care. I love that we covered it.
I think once you get into supernatural anything,
Yeah.
it falls under the umbrella.
Yeah, I agree. And it is like I think you can look at it through so many different lenses. I personally just look at it as a time capsule. It reminds me so much of being young and like the idea that there's more than just the norm.
Yeah.
And being a girl and being able to have power and I don't know, like all of those things, like, yeah, I
Plus,
loved it.
I'm just such a slut for the 90s.
Dude, me
Speaking-
too.
If anyone's a slut in this, it's for the 90s.
I love
Chris.
it. The 90s, the 80s and the 90s, baby. I'm all
Ugh.
about it. The vibe, and honestly, like when I think about the 90s, like I know that cell phones were there, but they weren't like they are now. And there was just something about the 90s where like you weren't as connected to everybody in like an immediate way.
Yeah.
There was more freedom, time felt less like I don't know how to put into words what I'm saying,
I mean,
but
it was a lot of our childhood, was in the 90s, so it just feels like
but it,
time was slower.
but like also we grew up in a time where there weren't cell phone cameras everywhere. You weren't updating your fucking statuses on the you weren't I don't know, it was
Yeah.
just a different time.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that I got to experience it
Yeah, me
and
too.
like live through it.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was just telling someone recently, our friend Tony, that I was jealous of him that he got to be like an older teenager slash young adult in the 90s because he got to go to some really cool fucking concerts.
Dude, I know that's so awesome. I know I was really young in the 90s, but I
Yeah.
still remember it, but I was really young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also think that we got to have a very unique experience being children in the 90s
Mhm.
and being old enough to remember being a child without the internet, and then also being young enough to have experienced the birth of it and to
Yeah.
like wrap our minds around it because we were young enough to not be like, no, we don't want this new thing, you know?
Yeah, no, totally, totally. It was just a different time. Even like the early 2000s, which was when I was in high school, like it was just a different time. I don't know. I do think the immediate connection we have with every single person right now is too much for our brains. Like I don't think we're supposed to know everyone's thoughts at all times. I don't think we're supposed to be recording ourselves all the time. Like
No.
I just think it damages your brain.
Yes, I agree.
You know what I mean? I know that makes me sound so old, but
No, but I think you're not alone in feeling that for sure. And so really the moral of the story is everyone should just go into the woods and do witchcraft instead.
exactly. Make some sacrifices. Just don't sacrifice any animals, okay?
Or
Anyways,
people
or people,
for
obviously more importantly, more people.
for legal
Or people,
purposes.
not more people.
That was a Freudian slip, but we're just going to move on from that.
Thank you so much for listening. You can follow us on all our socials at Chainsaw Girls Pod. We're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. We drop every Monday at noon. And we also have a brand new t-shirt, Chainsaw Girl t-shirt, first one.
Yes, demonxbunny.com on that one. We also have a Patreon, which we are going to pull up and list our top tier patrons, which we do every single month.
We appreciate our patrons. You guys are the best. If you haven't already, please give us a 5-star review because it really does help the podcast grow.
It does. And I wanted to say one more thing about socials. Oh, with the YouTube videos, yes, every Monday at noon. But the podcast episode actually goes 5 a.m. So if you are an early riser and you want to listen on your way to work, you can definitely do that.
Absolutely. All right, here we go. These are
Here
our
we go.
top.
You pulled it up before me.
I
I'm
got
like,
it,
"Come on."
baby. I got it. We got Jonathan W., Rob V., I would like to, David T., Heather D., Franchise Driller, Josh N., Millie C., Adrian G., Chris S., Alexis T., Adam VL, and James C. Thank you so, so much for all your support, for being our top tier patrons. We love you guys.
Okay, bye.